Hello and welcome to Owens Bay. Uh, this is my very first video for a project I'm working on in City Skylines 2. Owens Bay is a custom map that I created myself. I thought there's a few reasons for why I'm making this video. One, I noticed an uptick in people downloading the map, so I thought I might just do a little overview of it. It also is a custom map I made for a specific project I had. I liked the map, I put it up on the mod store, so people are using it, which is great. The other reason I'm making this video, the Economy 2.0 patch was not very kind to me. It corrupted several of my saves, and unfortunately my city on this map has been reverted to an earlier stage. I lost about a month's worth of work on it, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of prompted me like it might be nice to have an actual record of what I'm working on here. So I'm going to create a video, and if somebody's watching this, I hope you enjoy it. I thought I'd talk a little bit about the map. Right now, what we're looking at is a height map based on an island off the coast of northern British Columbia called Haida Gwaii. In the real world, this body of water we're looking at here is referred to as Ferguson Bay. I renamed it Owens Bay. I did quite a few alterations to the map just to make it more interesting to play on. And I thought I'd just point out a few things about it before getting into some conversations about the city I've been working on, and the unfortunate deletion of my main city, which hurts a lot, but it's an opportunity to rebuild. Anyway, so yeah, the map. What can I say about it? It's based on a real-world height map of a real location. This is a very sparsely populated area in the real world. Everything you're looking at here, there's maybe a few hundred people that live in this area. So not a large urban center by any means. I picked it because I like the topography. I am building a city situated in the Pacific Northwest. This is actually a pretty good representation of landscape from the Pacific Northwest. You've got a large body of water, large bay, many islands dotted throughout the region, and some beautiful mountain landscapes. I did a fair amount of editing on this map. You could basically look at this map from two directions. Right now we're looking west, and everything, this river below us here, everything to the west of us is more or less what the actual real topography of the area looks like. So I did a few minor alterations, added a couple lakes, took out a few of the islands, and tweaked a few things, but this is more or less what you would see in this location looking in this direction. On the other hand, looking east, we won't focus too much on the city yet. Excuse the cloud cover. I'm trying to find good settings for the lighting in the game, and I'm having a bit of difficulty with that. I've been using Lumina, but for whatever reason, lately it has not been working very well for me, and everything looks quite awful when I use it. So I am avoiding it for the moment, which means I'm stuck with the graphics the game is giving me. I personally like them. I know a lot of people don't. I think they take a bit of getting used to, but after a while, everything looks a little more real with the lighting as it is, as opposed to when you start to up the brightness and the contrast and saturation and all that. It starts to look a little too cartoony for my liking. Anyway, so it's a work in progress. The lighting's a work in progress. Anyway, before we get into looking at the city I'm working on, just back to the map for a second. So everything to the east here is more or less made up by me. None of this actually exists in the real location. It's actually very, very flat and uninteresting looking east from here. So what I did is I added a bit more, a bit of some hills and valleys, some rivers and stuff, just to give it a bit more visual appeal. Because I am playing this with the intention of being Pacific Northwest, I'm trying to mimic some of the features you would find in the Pacific Northwest. So we have a major river flowing out here, which is, you could, an analog to the Fraser River or the Columbia River on the west coast. I have another little river flowing up here. I put this river in with the intention of creating a dam, but let's just say the water dynamics in the game are challenging. So these river systems were very time consuming to put in. So I don't think I'm going to be damming anything. I'm too scared I'm going to break something. I did a little experiment here with putting in a sandbar. The map was made a few months ago, so some of the mods, like the detailing mods that are available now, weren't quite available then. So this is basically what it was kind of like the extent of what I could do with surface textures at the time. But I think it looks okay. So yeah, it is designed. I didn't design it for super gigantic cities, but you should be able to put fairly substantial cities on this map. I'm aiming for total population of the area to be somewhere between 100,000 to 150,000. I feel that the way the game plays right now, I can probably handle that level of population without it being without experiencing too much of a slowdown on my computer. So that's kind of where I'm aiming for. Also, I find that much like the original City Skylines game, the population seems to be a bit of an abstraction. So a region with a population of 100 to 150,000 will look like quite a large urban area. So, yeah. I included areas for farming. It's primarily going to be a logging resource and mining extraction, much like in the real world for the Pacific Northwest. There is a bit of oil resources down here. Here, hold on. Maybe I can bring up the resource maps. Okay, so you can see here. So a lot of farming. There is some coal if you want to go that route. There's a little bit of oil. I didn't put too much. Oil is not really a resource common to the Pacific Northwest, so I didn't want to include too much of it. Mineral mining. I didn't go crazy on it. Because I made the map for my own use, I kind of knew where I wanted things to be, so I kind of put them. That's one great thing about making your own map. You get to put things where you want them and kind of plan out for that. And yeah, the fertile areas for growing crops, quite extensive, fair amount of that. So more than enough room for farming. So yeah, I have been working on this city map now for maybe about, I'd say maybe about 3 months now. It's been a while. This, unfortunately, because of corrupt saves, this is essentially what I'm left with, the starter city. The starter city, I decided to name it New Sunderland. I'm not sure about the name, but that's what I went with. The main city over here, which is now completely gone, is Queensport. Before the corrupted saves, this was pretty much built up pretty extensively. And now it's all gone. And now I have to start again. So I thought it might be fun just to document it, mostly for my own. I like it's easy to forget how much work goes into building up an entire region. So it's mostly for my own record. But if other people find it interesting and want to watch it and follow along, I'm open to that. Let's see what happens. So what else can I say about it right now? So yeah, most of it is gone. Luckily, the starter city is more or less intact. I don't think I lost anything over here. There might be the odd thing that's disappeared, but this is more or less what it looked like. And other than coming in here to kind of finish it up and kind of like really focus in on detailing it, it's more or less complete. I don't really see a lot of stuff I need to do over here. I have a few really cool like neighborhoods I was managed to construct. It has a really nice waterfront going on. I do want to do a bit of editing. Unfortunately, some of these buildings, another issue I was having, and I didn't really think about it all that much, was my buildings weren't leveling up. So everything I placed down basically stayed the way it looked, and I kind of totally forgot about it. Reverting back to this save and starting at this point again, all of a sudden everything started leveling up. So what's happened here in downtown Sunderland is some of these high rises have maybe gotten a little too large for the skyline. These are definitely not, this is not the height I really wanted for this particular skyline. This is kind of like a secondary city, like a satellite city to the main city. So it's not really meant to be hugely developed. This is kind of like in keeping of like maybe the actual height of what I want the overall buildings in this area of town to be like. So these two here are just a little too high, and I'll have to come back in here and edit those out. It's great to have everything leveling up again though, because like these neighborhoods down here were stuck at level 1 or level 2 forever and ever and ever. These excuse me, these houses now are leveling up quite nicely. Okay, yeah. So buildings are starting to level, but I do have to come back in here. Like there was some bit of detailing I did do in here, as unfortunately disappeared. So good example of it would be I had detailed this uh, street here quite extensively, and it's all gone. So I'll have to recreate that. Also, there was more buildings in here, more trees and stuff. So yeah, this is kind of like its state. I kind of wish I thought about doing this at the beginning of it, but to be honest, City Skylines 2 up to this point, I haven't really been playing it so much as more as like experimenting with it. Due to the fact that the state the game was in, I just kind of been building these kind of experimental cities, just seeing what I can do and stuff like that. This is the first one I've built that I think is probably the nicest city, or it was. Hopefully, it will be again. That I've created in City Skylines so far. City Skylines 2. As annoying as losing my saves was, it does give me the opportunity to go back and revisit some of these areas where, due to not planning ahead very well or changing the layout of the city, I had several problematic areas. I still have some problematic areas, like this roundabout here connecting this highway and this main road here. This is, at this moment, it's not too bad, but it's going to become a major headache in the very near future as this gets all built out. One major issue I had was with the rail line. I didn't plan it out as well as I should have ahead of time, so it was a very awkward transition here from the station over here, and then having a highway come in over top of it. It was, let's just say, very messy and sloppy. And so that gave me an opportunity to come in and kind of revamp it, refine it a bit, make it everything fit a bit more. Also, another area that is getting a bit of a revamp is this area here. It's the only suburb of the city that actually really survived. But this particular area is known as Hillside. Not the most creative name, I know, but it is kind of on a hill going up to the mountainside here. In the original build, it was a little too much of a grid. It was just a little boring. So what I've done here is I've kind of like created this division road here, which kind of like separates out. There's a bit of a rise in the landscape here, so you have a bit of a flat area, like a lowlands, and then a hill, and then you're in the hillside proper. And so I just kind of broke it up a little bit more, or tried to make it a little more interesting. But yeah, there's so much work to be done. So much work. So what am I going to do here? Just to give you an idea of how I'm going to build a city, I'm more in the camp of a detailer than like a city management. So I'm going to kind of approach it from that way. So there's going to be a lot of custom placing of buildings, choosing buildings. We're not going to be worried too much about the level of the buildings, or if they're signature buildings or anything like that. As you can see over here, I've already done some rather creative usage of signature buildings. Stacking them together, stealing them from the European mod set to get some slightly different ones. This is a beautiful building. I think this is like probably one of the most beautiful buildings in the game, and it's really, really annoying that it's locked away in the European map set. Also, I've had some buildings upgrade here, which I didn't want. My nice street side cafe is now the entrance to a parking lot. Okay, I'll have to come back and fix that. So yeah, having the city recover from the Economy 2.0 patch was relatively painless. I did have to take out several buildings. Here, for instance, I had the full-scale hospital, and it was just costing too much, so I had to take it out. Oddly enough, with the full-size hospital, I think it had a total of 5 patients out of 500 capacity, like just a total waste of time, or just money, really. And if we look at this, I now, for some reason, once I put this in, I now have 126 patients. So obviously, perhaps the hospitals were bugged. I'm not really sure. Anyway, that's the reality of that now. And I might actually have to consider putting the hospital back in here, because I don't think these clinics are really going to cut it long term. Using a bit of creativity with some of the other assets, we have this the college up here on this nice view from up on the hill here. For my purposes, even though it obviously functions as a college, I'm treating it more as a private school. So it's not going to be any bigger than this. I'm not going to put any on any of the extensions or the library or anything like that. I'm just going to leave it just as it is, just as this really private school, which is mostly to service this, what will be in the future, a very wealthy neighborhood tucked away in here and kind of like coming out along the valley. And I'm not sure how far up the coast we're going to go. There's a lot of interesting areas to build up here, but I think most of this area is just going to be left as a rural area with not much built up. What else can we talk about? So yeah, so what we have so far is our starter location, New Sunderland. What will become the main city of Queensport. We also have a little farming community over here, which is not really built up in any way. A lot of these things are just placed to fulfill demand for certain resources and stuff. So we haven't really built up a lot yet. But I believe the name I came up for this town is Blackwood Mills. And yeah, so there's a lot of work to do. So yeah, I'm going to be mostly approaching this from the perspective of the detailer. So not going to be overly concerned with the economy as much as I can. Obviously, I am going to have to pay a bit of attention to it. I'm not playing. I am playing with money on. I decided to go with all tiles unlocked and also disabled the tile upkeep. It's not really a way I like to play. I like to when I'm building something, I like to think about the entire region as a whole rather than being restricted by zoning permits. So, of course, the tile upkeep would have just bankrupted my city almost immediately. Well, not immediately. It would have taken a little while, but it would have been painful. I wouldn't have been able to do it. So I disabled that. I'm okay with this. I am fine. This I still have the semblance of a budget, and I still have some restrictions on spending money, but it's a little more relaxed than if I had tile upkeep on. The death wave. I didn't really experience a death wave. I experienced a population boom. I am now getting a slight decrease in population. I really, really hope this is all these homeless people leaving eventually. I hope that's what's happening. Oh God, there's more over here in the tennis courts. I mean, that's just, yeah, they're everywhere. Of course, that's a bug. Hopefully it gets fixed. I might, if this doesn't seem to rectify itself in any reasonable way, I'm probably going to install the mod that will get rid of the homeless. I don't really want to do that, but if it's a bug in the game, I'm more than happy to install a mod to rectify it for the time being. I'd rather not, but we'll see how that goes. So, what else can I say about this at the moment? Well, let's go over here and look at my, I guess it's my current obsession with the my do-over. So one issue in the original version of the city was this train line was not well planned out. I have a major rail yard I'm working on over here. Still a work in progress. And the port, which is not functional at the moment, I turned it off to save money. I'm still figuring out some of the details. And yeah, there was numerous issues. Right here, I had tried a custom rail stop, which was not my best effort. It looked pretty awful. I'm more than happy to use the pre-made one for the time being. It looks nice. I also was able to plan it out a bit better, give it more room. But so this looks good. We've got a bit of a housing development right next to the rail station, easy access for transit. And anyway, yeah, let me show you what I've been working on since the update. I was having a number of issues keeping the game stable. I was experiencing a lot of crashing. It is resolved itself. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe it was a mod that was causing issues. I'm not really sure. Anyway, this is what I've been kind of like working on, trying to get this rail area to look super, super nice. And we're working on kind of like this transitional area, I guess you could call it. It's kind of like these no man's land between the industrial areas, the rail system, and then finally the suburban neighborhoods. And yeah, I kind of went a little bit to town on the landscaping here. I've taken a lot of inspiration from several YouTubers I've been following. For the most part, well, I mean, I follow quite a few. $2.20, The Infrastructuralist, City Planner Plays, and a few others. So I've been taking kind of inspiration of how to work with the game to kind of achieve some really stunning landscapes and areas with what's available right now, rather than sitting here and crying over the fact that the game is not quite in a finished state yet. It's much better now, but it's obviously has ways to go. Custom assets are, of course, the thing I think everybody's waiting for at this point. I'm certainly doing that. So, but with the tools we have, I think we are able to get some really nice looking results. I think probably the biggest, most important things so far are the surface painting tools, the decals to add, different things to the surfaces. At some point, you'll be seeing my own custom decals. I mean, I haven't put any of them in yet. I suppose we could do a little demo of them here. This kind of junkyard area I've been working on. So here, let's do a little. What can I show you here? So first, let's get rid of this. For this junkyard, I'm using the postal garage extension. I think nice thing about it looks good. It doesn't require a road, so I'm able to just place it wherever I want. And it fits in really nice here. So obviously, I don't want to get too much into the decal thing right now, but just to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing, I have let's do this and this. So like I now have things like rust that I can add to buildings. And the nice thing about these is these give you a few more options to get a more unique look for certain areas. I'm even though I've made a couple of decal packs now, and I think they look really, really good, I'm a bit on the fence of they're using too much of them for several reasons. The problem I've been finding with the decals is if you go to the trouble of just like completely covering up this building with rust and stains and make it look really really run down and stuff. I mean, there we go. Okay, I'm not gonna get too crazy in this right now, but just to give you an idea of what that sort of thing could look like. This is really sloppy done. I'll have to come back and redo it. But the great thing about this is, they allow you to add some, obviously, you've seen Sully's stain decals and all the other decals for that. Those things are great. Allow you to add a lot of character to your buildings. My big problem with them is if in the future I want to delete this, if I delete the building, I am left with all these decals that are kind of like left in limbo, scattered all over the place. And I don't know how that's going to affect the performance of the game over time, but somehow I think that can't be good. So I like them. I think they're good for specific uses. I don't know if I'd really want to use them all over the place. Now, of course, I say that, and if we look around, yeah, I've already gone to ham on many areas here. Probably a little overboard with some of this, but oh my God, does it ever look nice when you are able to go in here and just add some depth to the landscapes. Now, like here, I think this may be I went a bit crazy here. I think I could tone that back down a bit. But this is not bad. I think this certainly looks a lot better. I've been trying to do it with the landscapes as well. So one thing I found that is working quite well is Sully's surface textures. These things are great. And I've been trying to figure out ways to use them in a way that they don't look like they can, if you're not careful with them, they can look not good. And I'll give you an example of how they cannot look good. So let's take this. So if you paint out a huge giant area of it, right, this will not look nice. See, the problem is you get this tiling. This one's not too obvious, but some of them are more obvious. Let's see. And this isn't any criticism of the textures at all. This is just the nature of how these sorts of things work, right? They over a large enough area, you will start to see a pattern, and the pattern obviously doesn't look natural. So so a lot of what I've been trying to do is figure out ways to use these things in ways that they will stay natural looking. And the best way I found to do it is just not to use them over huge areas. Just really, like if I sit here and highlight them, you can see how I've drawn them in here, right? They're very random. They're not, I'm not trying to make, I'm just trying to keep them very small and very random in size, in shapes. That way, the patterning that might occur is you can't see it. I've also been overlapping them. One thing I found really nice is Sully's sand textures. These are like the ones that are designed to be a transition between the beach and grass. If you just place them elsewhere from a little bit of a distance, they actually look more like dry grass. So they actually I'm able to use them to break up the monotony of the grass textures, which is like, you get out here and you look at it and like, yeah, it's just endless sameness, which is, yeah, I mean, it's not a good look. So I've been using a number of techniques to try to break up the surfaces, make things a little more visually appealing. What I've been doing down here and having a lot of difficulty is trying to lay down textures to kind of make this kind of like, area in and around the railroad, where it shouldn't be nice. It shouldn't be like pristine grass. It should be gravel, dried grass, rocks, and a whole bunch of other things. And I think it's looking okay. It's not like I'm not unhappy with it. I think, you get this under the right lighting. This looks quite nice. My big problem with it, and I don't think there's really much I could do about it, is the assets for the actual train tracks are just way too pristine. I mean, the edges on these things are just like razor sharp, and I've tried numerous things to try to blend it into the landscape, and nothing really works. There is one surface texture that is actually the track sand, but even that is a slight mismatch. And this probably looks the best, but as you can see, I don't know if you can, maybe you can't see this, but you can actually see a line there. It's pretty nitpicky, but it's something I'm been paying attention to and trying to. I don't think I'm going to be able to figure out a good solution to this until there's some custom assets. Maybe I can replace the tracks. The other thing I don't like about these train tracks is these power lines. You know, for North American rail system, this is not really a thing. So I've been deleting them as I go. Unfortunately, they still leave, I don't know if you can see this in the video, but they still leave the wires, which are all still there, but they're pretty, not that noticeable. The other thing is like creative use of the actual plants that are available. This tip of sinking mature trees into the ground to create very large bushes is really, I can't stress how nicer everything looks with this kind of like a medium level plants. Like right in here, like this is probably right down in here. This is probably my favorite spot right now. Just the way this all kind of this like comes together. And that's just by sinking, I think it's the London plane and the apple trees into the ground a bit. I like to do it, how I like to do it is, one here, say we're doing the London plane, I like to take the two youngest trees and then sink them about, I think, 4 meters into the ground. And what this will do, a spot where I can do this is, or maybe it's not the, no, okay, it's not the youngest, it is those two. And all of a sudden it doesn't work. How interesting. Okay, it's over here. So, yeah, so, no, wait, it's this, no, that I hate. Okay. No, that's not right. Oh, that is weird. Huh. That is, what is it? It's trying to, oh, okay, there we go. Okay, that's my problem. This has to be upright. So, and okay, now it's too high. Okay. Yeah. Oh, demos. Anyway. So, okay, it is 4 meters down. And then what happens is, because you have two different sizes here, you'll get bushes at a couple different heights. And so you can get this very nice, and then you can also come in and maybe place a couple of them at ground height, and you'll get this nice kind of like mound of bushes and trees and stuff, which it's something about that is far nicer than these bushes that came with the game. I don't find, I mean, these obviously have their uses, but I don't really find these particularly great. This seems far more natural looking to me than the sort of stuff. With sinking trees in the ground, one thing I haven't seen anybody do yet, and I'm sure somebody out there must have figured this one out by now, but they are using them on apple trees and the London plane and stuff like that. But here I'm making a map of the Pacific Northwest, which is a temperate rainforest, so very, very wet. And one thing that grows everywhere around here, and I do mean everywhere, let's find a nice, are ferns. And like I said, I'm not sure I've seen anybody do this, but I mean, I don't know why nobody's thought of you take these ferns, which are quite large, but if you pick the sapling, like the really small one, and then you sink these a meter into the ground, you now have ferns, which I think is great. And obviously, depending on which ones you choose, you'll get different ones. Most of these are probably, for my purposes, for what I'm building, are too tropical. And this one probably is a little too low in the ground. I'll bring this one up a bit. Yeah, that one has to be a bit higher. And what do we got for this one? And yeah, so you have ferns. I haven't seen that yet. I'm like I said, I'm somebody out there somewhere must have thought of that one. I mean, but just it's kind of nice to find tricks like that with what we already have available, because rather than creating a whole new asset that you have to import into the game that's going to take up memory in space on your computer, you can recycle something that you already have and change it to make it look like something new. And I think these are really, really good, especially if you're doing something tropical. I mean, these are absolutely perfect. Anyway, I feel like I'm a bit rambling on here with this. I think next time I do this, I probably will just work on something. I'm not too sure what I'm planning on working on. It might be finishing detailing this rail yard. There's a lot of work to do here. I gotta kind of extend this texture into here, get rid of all this wiring, remove these trees. I don't know why there's trees in a rail yard. That makes zero sense. And maybe flush out this industrial area a bit more. It is, personally, I find industrial areas to probably be the most challenging areas to build. They are, it's kind of, it's all about the density with industrial areas, and things have to be, anyway, I'll get into that, but I really am enjoying building these kind of I don't know what you refer to these spaces are, but these kind of this forgotten spaces. It's these are the types of areas you see from the road, and that is probably the view almost everybody's ever going to see of it. But yeah, just kind of interesting. So I feel like I'm rambling a bit right now, so I'm going to end it here, and I'll keep posting, if for no other reason other than for my own personal record of what I'm up to. If you happen to be watching this and found anything interesting about it, you can, I guess, like the video. If you want to ask me any questions, just put a comment down below and I will answer what I can. Anyway, for my very first video, this is it. Have a good night.